Today, we're going to read a few stories and create some systems of equations to represent their situation. New York City is a popular field trip destination. This year, the senior class at High School A and the senior class at High School B both planned trips there. The senior class at High School A rented and filled 4 vans and 7 buses with 249 students. High School B rented and filled 7 vans and 7 buses with 273 students. Every van had the same number of students in it as did the buses. All right, so eventually we're going to get to the situation where we're going to solve and figure out how many kids filled each van and each bus, how many kids a bus can hold, if you will. But before we go there, we kind of need to get the skill set of writing equations, summarizing the story with equations. So let's go ahead and get started with High School A. So first, I have to identify you're dealing with two different separate equations, right? You've got High School A and High School B, right? So High School A, it tells us, rented and filled 4 vans. I'm going to use the variable V since it represents vans very easily, and 7 buses. And they were able to carry a total of 249 students. And then we come over here and evaluate the second scenario. High School B rented and filled 7 vans plus 7 buses. So what we're going to do is eventually we're going to take these two equations and try to figure out how many kids fit on a bus and how many kids fit on a van. But for now, we're just translating, and what we're telling you is these two equations represent the situation of the story. All right, let's take a look at another. Now, this is a very short story. The difference of two numbers is 5. Their sum is 21. This is very, very generic, but we still have two stories here. We have the story of the sum of the numbers. That's when we add the two, right? Sum means to add. And then we have the story of the difference, which is the story of when the numbers are subtracted, right? And, we really don't, when we're looking for an unknown value, we tend to call that value, or an unknown number, we tend to call that value X. If we have two of them, we call it X and Y. So I'm just going to do that. Two numbers, I'm going to call the first number X and the second number Y. And I know that their sum is 21. Right? And then if we go to the difference, you're going to do X minus Y equals 5. Okay, and right now that's summarizing the situation using systems of equations. Our next step, which we're going to talk about next week, is what are the numbers? What is X and Y? But not yet. All right, my final example is dealing with the current of a river, that is, or a stream, or even a lazy river at one of these water parks, right? The lazy river, you just sit there and there's a current that takes you around and around and around. Instead of you maybe kind of gone against that current, going back to your friends, and it takes effort to go against the current. Well, that's the situation we're dealing with here, except we're now talking about a current in a river of some sort with a boat on it, and you're able to go this traveling with the current. A certain boat went 18 miles per hour. That's a speed. I should say kilometers per hour. So we have something where we're going with the current, and I'm just going to call. I'm going to call the boat. The boat's going to be my X value. You could use B, and the current is going to be my Y value, and you could use C, but I'm going to use X and Y for those. Now, why did I choose X for the boat and Y for the current? Well, because when we go against the same current, well, we're going to have to end up subtracting the current because the current's a negative, and I'm just kind of keeping it straight with, what did I say, x and y? So it would be x minus y would equal, that would be the boat speed minus the current would equal only 2 over here. So this is the against. And then we have with, you'd say, well, the boat speed plus the current, and they were able to go much further. So that current's pretty strong. It's always tough going back upstream. And using x and y, it would be the same. X plus y equals 18. All right, there you go. Good luck and have a wonderful day.